you today. I'm so excited to get started here with Dash. But to answer your question, I think they absolutely moved too fast. I'm not saying they made the wrong decision. I don't think we know if it was a wrong or right decision yet. I think that timeline did not need to be so compressed. They had until September 26th to start games. These players are already on campus. They've already begun training. Why not give them some more time to continue preparing for a season and wait to see if things can improve? You know what? You could see it as an opportunity when you got a lot of time to go, or you can go the Big Ten, Pac-12 route and see it as, oh, things are only going to get worse over time. And I think that, once again, there's a lot of medical evidence for why you would want to postpone the season to the spring, including, of course, the fact that we have myocarditis showing up in these Big Ten players and probably players across the country. Just we haven't seen as much data release. And also the Pac-12 made some very compelling points about the lack of availability of testing. Those two things are huge issues, and obviously COVID in and of itself is a scary, scary issue. I don't want to pretend like these amateur athletes should be forced to go out there and compete to make money for other people in the midst of a global pandemic. That being said, there was still time, and the players were speaking out. They were making their voices heard. They want to play. They've been preparing for this their entire lives. I just hate that the plug was pulled earlier than it had to be. And I know you're going to disagree with me, but I just feel like there was more time.
I mean, I hate to pull this on you, but as a biology major at Stanford, okay, like I'm looking at the science here. I'm looking at the science and I'm saying it's not possible. There's no way that it gets better in a month. So why wait? Why wait if we know the answer already? It makes no sense. If you're 40 seconds to go, you take a knee. You know what the outcome of the game is going to be. You're up, okay? You take a knee. Okay, exact same situation here. We have all of the medical data in the world. COVID is horrible. We have no idea about the long-term consequences. Why risk it? Why put these athletes in a position where they're going one-on-one against each other every day, where we don't have enough testing right now? You know there's going to be spread, and it's just putting everyone at risk. Why would we possibly do that? We know what the outcome is going to be. We're going to have to cancel all sports. I don't see how possibly the SEC and the state that those states are in are actually going to be able to play games. So why wait? Why wait until a month later, 6 weeks later, to make the same decision we know is already going to be made? It's ludicrous.
Even if you're right, people are still going to hate you because you're such a know-it-all. So thank you very much for that. I mean, you just made my job real easy arguing against you. But for real, you know what? I'm going to defer to your biology expertise. Obviously, this has been the worst situation in perhaps the history of public health in the United States. There's no way around that. But we have seen a path back to sports, a path to the safe return of sports. It's working out in the NBA. It may not be working perfectly in the MLB, but they are continuing through their struggles, and things seem to have stabilized a little bit. And obviously, totally different situation with professional athletes who are getting paid and where the budgets for testing and such are way, way higher. But I still think that there's the possibility we can make it work. And case in point, there are 3 power conferences and other group of 5 conferences that are continuing to push towards a season, and they're looking at the same data. I mean, you know, they may not have the exact same doctors, but those doctors have access to the same information. The myocarditis issue seems incredibly scary. I don't know enough about it to speak to it. I absolutely have no medical expertise, but you have doctors from the SEC, the ACC, and the Big 12 who are looking at it and saying, we've known about this for a while. We don't think it's such a huge issue. We can test for it. If players get it, we shut them down. Personally, that makes me a little uncomfortable, but they're okay with it. I just feel like the power conferences needed to stay on the same position, because now what you're really looking at is the Pac-12 is going to lose significant ground, and they are already struggling. If you look at the college athletic department revenues across the country, there's no Pac-12 team in the top 20, which makes me think that money is certainly a decision for continuing to play, but I also think money is a decision for deciding not to play too. The Pac-12 just doesn't have as much at stake revenue-wise, and so they were not willing to try as hard as they could to put together a season for these players that have worked so hard.